Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 15 of the Dynasty Fans. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 15 of the Dynasty Fantasy Football League podcast. I'm your host and commissioner, Andrew Stratton, and joining me tonight on the cast, we have Dennis.
Hello.
And Andy.
Hey.
All right, so tonight we will look at a quick season preview of this year's league. Welcome to the cast, guys.
Great to be here.
Excited to be here. It's been a while, but hope everybody had a great summer and excited for the football season.
That is very true. Yes, football season is here, and I'm very excited.
It's about time.
Nothing better than a beautiful summer, and then we get going.
All right, can we see? So we got the. All right, so we're going to start here. We talked about the draft on the last episode. It's been a while since we've been here. I've been busy this summer, but figured before the season starts, we could kind of review everyone's team, see where we're at, and see if we think who's going to make the playoffs, who's better luck next year, and who's better luck in like 3 years. So we'll start here. So new to the league this year, Chris Singleton. He has taken over Colin's team, so a perennial playoff powerhouse here, and I mean his team is definitely set to be right there at the top again this year.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, he inherited a cheat code there.
Yeah. I mean, he does have. I mean, his team is very good, but it's definitely now starting to get to that age cliff, I think.
Yeah,
particularly his receivers.
Yeah.
Tyreek Hill, Stephon Diggs, Mike Evans. But he's still. I mean, he has younger talent with Jordan Love. He's got Jalen Hurts, Tyron.
I think
Josh Jacobs is still like 21 or something, but
yeah.
What was that, Dennis?
I said I'd be interested to see the bench a little bit more. I mean,
yeah,
got Tony Pollard. There's some guys, DJ Moore on his bench too.
Yeah,
Nick Chubb on injured reserve. It's pretty deep, and I like some of his taxi squad guys. But interested to see about Kyron Williams this year. McVay said he's the punt returner now, so is it going to be more of a 50-50 split with Blake Corum?
I feel like it's going to be one or the other. That seems to be his mantra. Like, you're the guy, you're going to get all the carries, or the majority of the carries.
Yeah.
And if you fall apart, then that's next man up. Like, I feel like that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, so one thing about him being the punt returner, I did not know this. Apparently, early in the season last year, he also was returning punts. So It's actually not that big of a deal. Or it's not as big of a deal as some people made it out to be. People wrote it off as like, oh, he's returning punts. That means he's not the number one running back anymore because you don't have your RB1 return punts. But people have said McVay just likes to get his best players on the field regardless of what they're doing, just try to get them more touches. So interesting. I mean, we'll see. I mean, obviously week 1's right around the corner. We'll see what happens. But as we talked about, I mean, Blake Corum, I think, is just a very talented runner. And that's not just me being a Michigan fan. We've discussed this. I don't want to get into it. We could probably all wax poetic about Blake Corum.
Yes.
Given all of our college football affiliations. So, I mean, I definitely think Chris is a solid playoff team here.
Yeah, I think Pollard's actually going to he's a sleeper of mine this year. I think he's going to do well.
Yeah, I actually got into an argument about Tony Pollard today drafting at work because the guy told me I was crazy for taking him. And I was like, dude, preseason, he was out there with the first team pretty much the entire time. And Tyjae Spears was running with the backups. And he's like, that doesn't matter. I was like, I think that's like the only thing that matters in preseason is like seeing who's actually out there with the quarterback and the first team offense. Like,
it's going to be a Pollard season.
Yeah. All right. So now who did I open up here? This is Ben's team. Ben made a couple little moves not really little, but he made the move. He dealt Brock Purdy and picked up Jalen Waddle, which I think definitely helps him a lot. I feel like receiver was his weakest spot, and he had a couple. He has Keenan Allen and Devontae Adams, but they're both kind of, we're talking about that age cliff with with Chris's team. I feel like Ben is also kind of at that, starting to get to that point with some of his players. As I told somebody, like, he can only ride drafting Josh Allen and Joe Burrow in the startup for so long. Like, at some point, just, that can stop carrying him, because I feel like he's had like a crash bench for like 3 years now, and it hasn't come back to bite him yet.
Yeah.
I'm kind of
you look at running back staples, pretty crazy. It was CMC, Jonathan Taylor, and Joe Mixon.
Yeah.
So if his running backs stay healthy, I think you're looking at one of the, obvious contenders here.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm kind of surprised he dealt Purdy and didn't try and get a quarterback back yet. I mean,
yeah.
Burrow gets hurt.
He's riding the two of them. He does not. Yeah, he doesn't even have another quarterback on his roster. So that'll be interesting to look at and see. Josh Palmer.
Didn't he just get hurt?
Who?
Palmer? I thought I saw the day he got hurt.
I think it would say something here, but I don't think so.
Maybe I was wrong.
Pole position for top targets. So yeah, I've been kind of grabbing him as much as I can in late rounds. So I kind of like him as a sleeper. Same with Dortch. I feel like he could get some. He's sneaky in the slot, but like, yeah, Ben's bench is, as soon as he gets out of his starting lineup is outstanding, but he gets into bye weeks and he's starting to throw out some of these guys, and could get dicey. He gets an injury or two, and things could fall apart. I don't think it's going to be like how I was predicting all offseason last year. Dave was going to fall apart and did, but he could be a year away from that if he doesn't make moves to get younger or just go all in to win this year. He still has his first round picks in both 25 and 26. Plus he's got some extra seconds here in 25. So he's got ammo if he wants to really try to make a push for this year.
Yeah, I don't think he'll fall apart this year. Maybe next year.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for us.
All right, spend some of those picks, Ben. Spend some of those picks, buddy.
Yeah. So Andy, I'll go to your team next, because I'm going to kind of go into this of like tiers of teams that I see. So I feel like we're looking at the contenders right now. So I looked at Chris Singleton. I looked at Ben. Now look at your team, Andy. Obviously you backed into your back-to-back number one overall picks, and so now you're just hoping that Bijan and Breece are going to be this, two-headed running back monster that can carry you.
Hopefully.
Your team, that's, who do you have at tight end?
Nobody now.
Nobody?
I got Hawkinson. He's injured.
Yeah.
Matt, who knows? And
yeah,
I took a flyer on,
Jonnu.
good old Jonnu.
Yeah. Look, you've done a good job of, building depth through the years, but maybe some of that's not as deep as I remember it being here. But you have some, you're pretty deep at receiver.
Yeah, and I got, my taxi's kind of full of just flyer guys. Like Davis looks like he's going to be okay.
Yeah.
At least I have a handcuff for White if he falls off the cliff, in Irving, and like I said, San Francisco, whatever.
Yeah.
He's probably going to amount to nothing.
Yeah, you have a starting quarterback on your taxi squad, which a lot of people cannot say that they would have a.
If I can find someone to take Fields,
yeah,
maybe someone would throw me a pick in there for him. Take a flyer on him.
Well, can't you? I'm pretty sure you can put Marvin Mims on taxi still.
Oh, I could. Yes, I think so.
Yeah, because you had him on your taxi all last year, so that's an option too. But yeah, I definitely see you as a strong. I have like 4 teams that I think are like the obvious playoff teams, and so you're the third of that group. And then our fourth one is our defending champion, Nick Corum. So yeah, he trusted the process, and look where it got him. Got him a pretty good team here.
Yes,
I'd say
yes, it
so.
is.
He hit on that all important quarterback.
Yeah. So yeah, he's riding Stroud. He's got CeeDee Lamb, Amon-Ra. I mean, yeah, he's got a pretty solid team top to bottom again here.
Yeah, basically he did a rebuild as quick as you possibly could, obviously. Right. And then he became aggressive in the right time, to get Lamar and do those other deals last year. So yeah. I mean, when you do it smart like this, draft well, at your picks, this is what you get. Good job, Nick.
Yeah.
So those 4 teams, that's where I'd say I'm looking at those are, I think, the 4 strongest contenders. Would you guys agree there?
Yes.
Yes, I would agree.
Okay. Now, so we'll get into. Let's skip the middle. Let's go to the bottom, right? So let's go. Let's look at Dave. All right. So let's see what we need to do with Dave here. So Dave is just this is a mess. Dave's pretty much already sold off most of what he can sell. I mean, he's still got some pieces here that people might take flyers on. From his, a lot of his players that might have interest, Olave or some, they're still young guys. So it's, does he really want to deal them? But I mean, he just needs assets at this point.
Yeah.
What's his pick situation look like?
So Dave's got, he's got picks, but not an overwhelming. He's got a lot of Nick Corum's picks, which are gonna be later picks. They're not gonna be.
Like I said, he's got some pieces he can build around, like Bowers and Ladd.
Right.
And hopefully Bryce Young will not end up being a Jamarcus Russell type player, but that's yet to be seen.
Yeah, you clearly like Bryce Young still, Andy.
I have high hopes for him. I actually tried to trade for him earlier, but just didn't want to go. Just couldn't agree to it. I didn't want to separate from the pieces he wanted. So
I'll talk about this on the show we're going to record tomorrow, where we talk about our auction league. But you did keep Bryce Young in our auction league for what I felt was not a value. I felt like you kept him for well over value, but hey.
Based on how our quarterbacks went, it was probably
it was probably about right.
Out.
It was probably about where he would have went. So
David's just going to take time, buddy. It's just going to take some time.
It's going to take time, patience, and you need to get be able to find some of the draft well. You need a Jesse to happen where you snag Puka Nacua, but I don't think there's another Puka Nacua. That's the problem. And now to the next team that kind of surprised me that he just completely blew things up here. Is Nick Stull. He had won back-to-back in 21 and 22. And
Did it freeze on you?
Yeah. Is my screen still working for you guys? Or
yeah.
No.
Okay. So you guys can talk about
I pulled up his team here. I'm looking at it on my phone too.
Okay.
So, he's got Cousins and oh, you got it?
Yeah, I got it. I'm back now. Yeah. So he still has a couple of pieces across the board where he could, hypothetically, but he traded away Justin Jefferson and that deal looks so bad for him now because right after he made it, McCarthy is out for the year with a knee injury. Addison gets caught speeding. So he's sitting on. He's got Jesse's first round picks the next 3 years. He's got my pick in 25. So he does have a lot of picks. So he hasn't completely blown things up, but a lot of his players that he still has on his team. Cousins is not one that he's going to be holding on to for a rebuild. I don't think. Either it's
No.
Gus or Najee, or he's got a lot of guys that he
He's
probably
got
should
guys that he's
looking to deal and probably pick up more picks. So I think he's in the beginning stages of a rebuild. But I mean, he's already got a decent number of picks here, and then he's got even more guys where he can probably still, a rebuilding team doesn't need Brandon Cooks. A rebuilding team doesn't need.
No, he's got some trade deadline pieces that he can get some capital for.
Right.
And I'm glad I didn't trade for McCarthy and Addison like Jesse was trying to do.
Yeah, I think a lot of us teams in the middle tier, I think, will be knocking on Nick's door here come like week 7, 8, 9, middle of the season, needing bye week fillers and guys getting hurt and just looking for depth pieces that we can throw in there.
Yeah, I mean, I think Cooper was, still a good asset. He can sell off. Obviously, Andrews is still good.
Yeah.
Hopkins probably can be, a playoff push type player, and Godwin,
Yeah. I mean, he still has pretty good receivers here. Like, he doesn't really have a wide receiver one. He's got a lot of like 2s and 3s, but just guys that are gonna, consistently go out there and get you points, which sometimes is all you need. And, like you said, a deadline piece. Like, I need somebody that can just throw in my lineup for a couple weeks here.
He's going to pick up some more pieces this year. So obviously,
I think he's been one of our least active. He's been one of the least active people as far as trading goes. I definitely think that's going to be changing as we go this year.
Yes.
I agree.
So then, my screen is freezing on me again. Hate my old computer here. All right, so then the last one, and I'll throw in that group. Dennis, I hate to do it, but I think you're still down there. I like your team, actually.
Oh, yeah.
You're just missing some pieces here. And obviously, you're trust the process 2.0. So you're trying to become the next Nick. You're trying to build.
If only I can get it as quick.
Jesse's trust the process 2.0. Sorry, I can't remember. You must be 3.0.
I'm 3.0. There you go.
3.0. Or 2.5.
Yeah. Trust the process. I'm so 2008. You're so 3000 and late.
Yeah. Okay, Fergie. You wanna throw out some of your thoughts here, or?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I've been in a rebuild process for a while, but I'm starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel now. I think I'm pretty good with my running backs, Richardson, Lawrence, and Caleb Williams. I like my receivers. My running backs are going to need some work, so let's hope there's some studs in the draft this upcoming year because I have 4 first-round picks. So, right. I'm going to be praying that I get like Ollie Gordon or somebody ready to hit the ground running. And I think once I get some running backs, and I think I have the youngest team in the league. My roster average age is 23.7 years old, and the league average is 25.6. So, almost 2 full years younger.
Yeah, so that's I mean that's how you rebuild. You get those young pieces, and and I feel like you're one still that you got a couple pieces where a couple of us might be looking to talk to you about giving you some more capital for some of these other random pieces.
Yeah, there are a couple guys out there who can definitely help some playoff teams for sure.
So, all right. So I think we've got a good feel for your team. Andy, any thoughts there?
I'm surprised you still have Trey Lance. He looked god awful.
I'm just waiting. I'm waiting for Dak Prescott to leave, and I'm trying to force him into the starting job. Jerry Jones being an idiot. That'd be awesome.
Otherwise, I think you're well on your way. Obviously, you got a good foundational pieces in your quarterbacks that should probably pan out. Obviously, Richardson has some injury concerns, but I think you're well on your way. So.
All right, so now let's go to so now I'll go teams that here's where I would say like the playoff bubble is. I think I got about 5 teams. Let's look at Chris Dixon here. He's got Mahomes. So I think these the last five we'll look at kind of are going to be battling for those last two playoff spots. So again, I think Chris is one of these. What was I trying to say? Okay, I think he's one of these teams. They say in Dynasty you never want to get stuck in the middle, and I feel like his team is one of these where he needs to make a decision. He needs to. Should I stay or should I go? I think he's the Clash, where it's. Well, I mean, what do you guys think? Yeah. Where he might need to do some kind of a rebuild here, but because I don't know if his team is strong enough to make the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, his quarterback situation is one of the best in the league, obviously, with the top two options, not Drew Lock was standing, but I mean, Saquon, kind of like how you said, Bud. Yeah, he's got to make a decision whether to sell out to get more, pick up some more impact guys at receiver and flex spots, or does he just try and start packaging guys away and going for the future again? Right. I think he's got the bones of a good team, though.
Yeah,
absolutely. And you could probably drop Latu off. I don't even think he made the team. I think you can drop him.
He's on Cleveland, apparently.
Oh, well, maybe not. Never mind. But
he's on the Browns practice squad.
Yeah.
Well, I guess there's worse ones to hold, but
yeah. I'm noticing I have none of my own picks. I see everybody has all my picks every time.
Weren't you going for a strategy based on how we were originally drafting?
I was. Yes, you are correct. When we had where your record had nothing to do with your pick, I was literally just trying to not take any of my own picks, and then I would just pick good teams so that my picks would go to the end of the round. But it never really came to fruition, and I felt like kind of bad doing it, but I don't know. It was strategy. All right, so let's look at Doyle next. I don't know. I feel like the common theme with the teams we're going to look at here is a lot of them are kind of in this limbo of, they could be contenders and try to get into one of these last two playoff spots, but would it be better for their future to just make moves to, bolster for the future? He went after Brock Purdy, got him from Ben this year. He's, still has Tua, Mostert. Mostert, despite the fact that he was like a top 5 running back last year, the guy got passed around like he was trash. Like I think he got traded like 3 or 4 times last year.
You had Achane, and then you got who's the new guy again?
Jalen Reed.
Yeah, so now you got a 3-headed monster, maybe.
I feel like Doyle always has Javonte somewhere. He's always on one of his teams.
I have that Broncos player, right?
Yeah. I mean, his team is in a similar spot where he's the strongest position he has his quarterback. Not nearly as strong as Chris, but I feel like his team's better at other places than Chris's.
Yes. I like a lot more of his pieces.
Yeah.
His non-quarterback pieces.
Yeah. But I feel like it's just, middling team. It's not really, he doesn't really have studs. He kind of just has like solid depth, solid players, and it's going to be just kind of figuring it out.
Yeah.
I really have a lot to say about this team. All right, let's go with Matt. I was in a golf cart with him for like 4 hours, just talking up his team. Let's see what we got here. He's got Goff and Daniel Jones, and quarterbacks outside of Goff are pretty weak. His run, he's pretty solid at running back.
Yes, he does.
He's one of the better teams back in the league, but his receivers are very weak.
Yeah, Rashee
Rice.
But then Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy.
So Jeudy, I don't. Oh, he's at Cleveland. Yeah.
Does he have anybody? I like Michael Wilson as a sleeper, but then he's got a lot of these like guys that we've written off for dead. Treylon Burks and Rashad Bateman and some of these.
Yeah, those guys are kind of I don't think they'll mount anything.
Yeah. And he's got, I mean, he's one of the only ones, like, he's like, the only picks he has are like his picks.
He hasn't done any trades.
He's missing
Oh, he
one.
lost
He's
the
missing a
fourth rounder,
25
yeah.
fourth and a 26 fifth. So, I mean, Matt, I think, he still wants to try to contend. He definitely needs wide receivers. So he might need to be in the market for a wide receiver or two. Let's see. What do we have left? Me and Jesse. So I will say of that middle tier, my favorites of the teams to make the playoffs are myself and Jesse. That's not me being biased. I feel like I've done a couple decent things, but I'll let you guys talk about my team a little bit. I won't say anything here.
You go for it, Dennis.
Okay. Well, I mean, it is one more of the solid teams in this tier. Obviously, you kind of have a solid starter, I would say, at every position. I know you're hoping for a lot from Zamir White this year. Yeah, it's pretty solid. I mean, there's not much else to say. Your quarterback is Deshaun Watson going to become Deshaun Watson from a couple years ago? I don't think that guy's there anymore, personally, but we'll see. I mean, if that happens, then yes, I would firmly put you in the playoffs with that. But you got a lot of guys who haven't had the opportunity to show it in the league yet, like Drake London and Kyle Pitts, George Pickens. They all have a lot to prove, but they're all supremely talented. So I think you got a pretty talented roster here.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely.
I mean,
you got a lot of potential.
Yeah. The one thing I'll say, how you said I have a lot of faith in Zamir White, I think I showed the opposite of that by making it a point to go trade for Isaiah Pacheco and Derrick Henry.
That's a good point.
And Tajay Spears. I went out and got a lot of running backs because I was not comfortable with Zamir White as one of my two primary running backs. I'm fine throwing him in a flex, but I definitely did not want.
Yeah, I think this is. Oh God.
No, go for it.
I was gonna say, I think this is the year you'll kind of figure out if Pitts is going to be something and London's going to be something, because they no longer have Arthur Smith, the fantasy football terrorist, as their offensive coordinator.
Fantasy football terrorist.
George Pickens is on his team though, so
yeah, that's
Smith working with him now.
Yeah, and for the first time, Drake London and Kyle Pitts will actually have like a quarterback that can throw them the ball.
So I mean, it'll be pretty telling. So if they're not really great this year, it won't be. The outlook won't be as positive.
Yeah, I mean, I'm extremely high on Kyler Murray this year. I think his upside is really good. I think people know that I'm extremely high on Isaiah Pacheco. I have him as like a top 5 running back. I don't see the Samaje Perine thing is not really making me. I mean, I think it's just smoke. But without Jerick McKinnon last year, Pacheco was like absolutely elite. Like he was putting up huge numbers late in the season. So I really liked getting him.
He's just efficient.
Yeah.
And I do hope, and that's just a waiver throw, but I do hope steals some goal line touchdowns.
Okay. And then the other player I have that I'm pretty high on is Terry McLaurin. He's just a really good receiver. Like, and he's kind of in the same boat where it's like, I saw something that like over the last couple of years, he's like dead last in the NFL in like percentage of targets that have been thrown to him that are catchable. So like, it just means like his quarterbacks have been terrible. They pepper him with targets, but they're just nowhere near where he needs to catch the ball. So it's like, hopefully somebody can just get him something that he can catch. Like
that's where talent over situation does matter.
Yes, sometimes it really does matter. So
all I know is that you have all your eggs in the Atlanta Falcons' future here. But,
that is true, because I also have Michael Penix on my taxes.
I know. And Tyler Algier on the bench.
Well, I mean, that's just who cares? It's a bench running back flyer, but
You're gonna have to try and
And-
trade for Bijan from Andy now. You know,
Yeah.
try and get a deal
I
together.
don't think so.
That's not gonna happen.
All right, and so the last team here is Jesse. Jesse's team is, I mean, there's no one in this league that has better wide receivers than Jesse. I don't think anyone will dispute that. He's Justin Jefferson, Marvin Harrison, Garrett Wilson, Puka Nacua, Malik Neighbors. Like the five of them, there's like no chance anybody has close to that.
Nope. No, not even remotely.
I think it'd be silly to not think that.
Mhm.
But I think outside of that is where Jesse's team gets sketchy. I mean, it's not sketchy, but it's just very unproven. I forgot he traded for Connor and Kamara. I forgot he's the one that pilfered Nick's team already.
But I mean,
I remember
Connor's old.
he's got a lot of these rookie running backs and rookie quarterbacks with Drake May and Jaden Daniel. I mean, like we said, he
And
had
the
nine.
receivers, he had all the first.
He had
round picks.
9 first-round picks this year. So I think maybe it's premature to say Jesse's a playoff team, but I think the trades he made to get Connor and Kamara, Justin Jefferson, those are, and Aaron Rodgers, like those are moves where it's like, okay, he's trying to contend. I mean, Jesse, he has the fewest draft picks of anybody else. He's already all in. Like he has no first or second round picks over the next 3 years. So he has basically he's gone trust the process, but then let's just immediately go all in with the process.
Yeah.
So he scooped up all these 2024 picks, drafted everybody, and now he's just hoping that this class is awesome and that he can use his other picks to, bolster the rest of his lineup. So I mean, this is a strategy that it's either going to go well or this could absolutely blow up in his face. If this class is full of busts and May doesn't do anything and Daniels doesn't do anything, now all of a sudden it's like your quarterback is Aaron Rodgers, who's 40, and 2 rookies that are busts, like with no picks in any time in the future. But with all the receivers he has, he definitely can make something happen, I think.
Yeah.
But
Oh, absolutely.
I'm not gonna lie, it's the first time I've looked at his team in a while. Yes, I mean the receivers
this is
are
the most
ridiculous, but I knew this was
best.
a great class to have 9 first round picks from.
Yeah.
I mean the receiver talent, the quarterbacks, it was perfect. It was perfect for him. So now he's got to get
he really went with all these running backs too, because he has Blake Corum, he has Trey Benson, and he has Jonathan Brooks. So this is, I mean, despite the fact that he traded for a few running backs, he definitely still is for the future counting on this class being good for running backs as well. And just historically, you don't see classes where it's like everyone was good. So
there's always going to be a Burks or a Lance and a Fields and a. Oh wait, the whole class sucked.
Trey Sermon and
2021 was awful.
So do we have any predictions for league champ, for anything else? Any crazy things that'll happen?
I mean, okay. You know what? I'm going to say my come from nowhere champion is going to be Jesse's team. Just looking at it now, I think those receivers are just going to carry him. Jaden Daniels is going to have a great rookie of the year, and he's going to come out of nowhere and pull out the championship. Wow. Congratulations, Jesse.
You've been cursed to miss the playoffs.
Hasn't like the playoff winner been near just above 500, or the champ been just above 500 every year?
Well, no, because year one, Colin went 14-0 and won the championship or something.
I forget about that year.
And Nick went 13-1 one year and won it all. So
maybe it's recency bias.
Might be our other league.
What'd you say? There were 4 teams that you said were contenders, and then 4 teams that were the basement, and then the rest were middle of the road?
Yeah, I had 4 contenders, 3 basements, and 5 middle of the road.
5 middle of the road. That seems about right.
I think there we go. So I will for the second year in a row on the podcast, I'm predicting Andy to win. So
God. So I'm not gonna win.
I will pick Andy over Ben in the championship. And
I
trust
like
me,
that.
if that is the championship, everyone will be rooting for you.
We will. Yes, we will. Yeah. There's
Oh,
nothing more fun
Hope that happens.
than rooting against Ben, after all these trade proposals, But it's all in fun, of course.
Well, yeah.
But
It is. It's all fun.
Everyone's got to have a Ben in the league. So.
yeah.
All right. So now we're going to talk. I mean, I guess we can talk. Dennis and I had talked about doing some, talk about the general NFL season. If there were any like win total teams we liked, if we liked any, right? Division bets, anything like that. So,
Yep.
Dennis, if you want to lead us off or do an intro for that or what you want to talk about.
I was just thinking of, just for, fun, looking at the over-under totals, win totals for teams in different divisions. I got it here on my screen. I'll just kind of read them out to you guys and see what you think division by division. So the NFC North, we have the Lions leading the division with 10.5 wins as the over-under. So we got to 12 wins last year. I think we're all pretty good fans here. We're hammering the over on that one, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I think, they never put huge over-unders, but I feel like that 10.5, what's the juice to? Is it pretty juiced or?
I was trying to find all this. Let me see what it's juiced to. I didn't have that part on here when I was looking.
Right.
It's a lot harder to just Google this stuff. I think it was like minus 130.
Yeah. I mean, I figured it's
under
juiced.
was like plus 130.
Yeah.
So
I think we're all in agreement on the over there.
Yeah. And then here, I'll just do the other three teams and we can just discuss it as you want. The Green Bay Packers are in 9.5 wins. The Chicago Bears at 8.5 and the Minnesota Vikings at 6.5. I kind of feel like the Vikings as the under, there's going to be some team in the NFC that's just going to have to take a bunch of L's and they're the obvious team at the moment.
Yeah, and the Vikings have a really difficult schedule early in the season where it's like I feel like things could happen and the wheels just fall off and people just don't care. Like outside of I think they're a like 2-point favorite at the Giants in week 1, and I don't think they're going to be a favorite again for like their next 5 or 6 games from what I remember looking at with them. So I feel like they're one. And here we go. Everyone, the media is hyping them up. I am all about Bears under 8.5. I just don't.
I agree.
I don't. They're gonna make the playoffs, this and that. I don't. Maybe next year. I think maybe watch out for the Bears next year. But I think this is definitely one of those. What are they? I can't. I think maybe now I'm trying to think of. Yeah, they're overhyped. Everybody wants. Yeah, we got to see it first.
They got to do the Bears thing. They'll underperform, fire their coach, and get a new coach.
Yeah,
and then repeat the process. No, I actually think Caleb's going to be pan out for once, but
I mean, and I would probably lean over for the Packers as well.
Yeah, I agree on the Packers. I think the Lions are going to be double-digit wins for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go over then. We'll switch over and got the NFC East over here. I'll just go all 4 of them off. The Eagles have the highest win total at 10.5, matching the Lions. The Cowboys at 9.5, and then the Giants and Commanders both at 6.5 wins.
I think the Eagles actually be under. I don't know. I feel like outside of the Giants, the division will be fairly close between the 3. I don't know. That's just a hunch I have based on really
do you think the Cowboys are going to make the playoffs? You think the Cowboys make the playoffs? I'm sorry, the Eagles make the playoffs.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I'm very bullish on the Eagles. I think Would you say their win total was 10.5?
10.5. Yep.
Yeah, I would pretty strongly say I'd say over for them.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see, though. I mean,
I even like the Eagles at
last year.
600.
They're already having some problems between Hurts and Sirianni. I mean, it's all going to come down to their coordinators, the new coordinators, and how they mesh with the rest of the team.
Yeah.
Vic Fangio.
So actually, one bet that I haven't placed any of these, but there are ones I'm considering. So I hate futures because I don't like just having my money sit there for so long. Like I'd rather just bet on other shit. Like, but I do as like just maybe a flyer bet. I do like the Commanders to win the NFC East at plus 1100.
Nice.
Like their defense. If Daniels, like Dennis said, maybe he comes in and lights the world on fire and is really good. That if the other teams struggle. I think Dallas right now, like I was trying to see if I could find like bets on like yes or no to make playoffs. And I can right now, Dallas.
So they're to make the playoffs, they're minus 210.
Yeah, I see minus 205 and then no as plus 164. I would be tempted at that no for Dallas to miss the playoffs. Their O-line's not going to be as good. That I was reading something that's like if CeeDee Lamb were to get hurt for any reason, that passing game could just completely fall apart because they don't really have anybody else. Like they have Brandon Cooks, who's like 30 something, and then just some random people.
Ferguson.
And yeah. So I mean that's one that you could get. That's why I was like, I don't know why the Cowboys aren't paying CeeDee Lamb because I don't know if there's a more important receiver in the league right now than what he's doing for their offense.
Well, they did pay him, so
yeah, they did pay him. So, all right, what do you have as the next group here, Dennis?
Okay, next group we have the NFC South and the Falcons at 9.5, the Bucks at 7.5, the Saints at 7.5, and then the Panthers at 5.5. Definitely the weakest division in the NFC. So you can tell just by the win totals there. I think everybody's got the Falcons as the favorite there. Once Kirk Cousins, everybody hits. I mean, that should be, but we've seen a lot of these teams not what you think they would do.
Yeah, I feel like them and the Bears right now are the two teams that like have the most unwarranted hype.
Yes.
But what'd you say New Orleans was?
They're at 7.5. The Buccaneers and the Saints at 7.5. I kind of like both of those.
Under or over?
I'm sorry, the Buccaneers I like over. The Saints.
The Saints, I am all about the under.
Saints are going to be top pick. They're terrible.
Yeah, I think they potentially have the worst offensive line in the league.
Spencer Rattler will be starting at some point.
It could be Rattler season later in the year. I think the Saints, I feel like they've been trying so hard to just like hold on to relevance for so long that at some point it's just gonna fall apart. Like they just haven't drafted well enough to keep their team, at that level that they probably should at some point need to rebuild. Like, you're really gonna have Derek Carr or Jameis Winston as your quarterback. Like, I mean, I know they don't have Winston anymore now, but.
So then, are you looking at the Panthers as an over team?
Yes,
if
I actually think
unders.
I think the Panthers could be very, very much improved. Like the coach they hired has done really good things with Geno Smith in Seattle, and then last year he was with Tampa with Baker Mayfield. So I feel like that could lead to Bryce Young, and they've surrounded him with better. They got Deontay Johnson and a couple of these other guys, and their defense is not terrible, but they also added some pieces. So
they also traded Brian Burns away, so the best defensive player's gone.
Yeah,
interesting to see. Their division odds are plus 1,200.
I know. That's actually one of I like that more than the Washington one I said. Like just because I actually really like the Eagles in the NFC East, but I don't really like any of these other teams here. So and there's always like one team that goes right. There's always a team that goes from last to first, right? So
yes,
why not Carolina?
They might be the team this year. Never know. All right. Should we move on to the NFC West, finish off the NFC? We have the San Francisco 49ers at 11.5, the Rams at 8.5, the Seattle Seahawks 7.5, and the Arizona Cardinals 6.5. So the 49ers got a pretty good lead there. I don't know. What do you think with all their drama-filled offseason that seems to all switched over today with Ayuk and Trent Williams? Are they going to be able to?
They're always having turmoil, and then that just works itself out.
They'll have turmoil next year with Purdy and all the other dudes. I think they'll. I don't know. I think they're going to have a hangover and kind of be under. Plus, like I said, Seattle's gotten a new coach. I mean, Geno's still not that great, but Arizona, Stafford with the Rams is always dangerous. So
yeah, kind of like the Rams over 8.5. I think they'll. I mean, I look at that as, are they going to make the playoffs? Because usually 9 and 8 teams make the playoffs. I feel like they're like them. Arizona, I feel like they were feisty late in the year last year. They had some like upsets. They won at Philly late in the year. So their offense was playing pretty good. And now they had Marvin Harrison. So if Kyler's healthy, I feel like they're definitely an over. Their defense is pretty solid. So they could be sneaky too. I mean, I don't think they're going to beat, finish ahead of San Francisco or anything, but I definitely could see them going over that 6.5. I don't really like Seattle. And like Andy said, San Fran, I could easily see going 11-6 and just saying yeah, we made the playoffs. Who cares?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Rams are an interesting one to me because they have a lot of suspensions and guys injured at the moment. So
yeah,
the beginning of the season is going to be really important for them. I don't have their schedule pulled up.
They play the Lions week 1 in Detroit.
Yes.
So that'll be one loss for them.
They start with the Lions. They go to Arizona. Then they have the 49ers at home. And then the Bears and Packers as well to open up the season. So it's going to be really, really telling 5 first games there. But I might actually take the under on them. I kind of feel like they're a team that could kind of fall off again too. I'm going to doubt
Rams.
Yeah. So we'll see on that. I like Mike McDonald for the Seattle Seahawks. They play the Lions again this year. I don't know. Can we finally beat them? Drives me crazy.
We cannot. They're like our kryptonite. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Monday Night Football where there's 2 Monday night games.
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
Third time's
they should be able to beat them.
All right, do you want to move
like Kansas City?
Yeah.
All right, we can move over to the AFC.
Okay, we'll go to the AFC North again. So here we have the Baltimore Ravens at 10.5, the Bengals at 10.5, the Cleveland Browns at 8.5, and the Pittsburgh Steelers at 8.5. So obviously this has been one of the probably most competitive divisions in football over the last 10, 20 years.
Well, we have this division has my favorite win total over under bet. So if anybody does want to bet, according to what I think, this is the one. Pittsburgh Steelers under.
Under? Finally?
I think the only reason this total is as high as it is because of the whole Mike Tomlin's never had a losing season thing. I do not understand why this win total is 8.5. Does not make sense. They're in, like you said, a very competitive division. They have an extremely difficult schedule. They were really lucky last year. I'm trying to find. I have stats about. They were 9-2 last year in games decided by 7 points or less. So every single one of their wins came in a game that was decided by a touchdown or less. When that happens, typically the next year you don't see teams repeat that. It's usually pretty luck based. So yeah, that means they were 9-2 in games decided by 7 or less. They were 0-6 in games decided by a touchdown or more. So they didn't win any games by more than a touchdown. And when they got blown out, when they lost, they got blown out a lot. So I don't see it.
No, I agree.
When you have 2 quarterbacks, you have no quarterback.
Their right tackle's a turnstile. I don't know if you've seen him recently. I mean, he's horrendous.
I mean,
So-
they've drafted a bunch of offensive linemen the last 2 years. So, I mean, if they can gel together and become a top unit, that could be different. But who knows? You know, it's a bunch of unknowns.
I mean, I've been kind of looking into Pittsburgh more because of Fields. But other than that, I don't care about them. I just think Russell Wilson's going to be running for his life. Arthur Smith does them no favors, and they'll be picking for a quarterback probably this year.
Yeah,
that's my guess.
Shedeur Sanders. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to disagree, but yeah, I also hate betting against
Tomlin.
Mike Tomlin. Yeah, and you know they just have a culture there in Pittsburgh. You know, so sometimes they do stuff that when you don't expect it. I don't think anybody was expecting anything last year, but it will be hard to duplicate it again. I kind of like Cincinnati to win the division, honestly, so I would go over on their 10.5 wins, and the Ravens as well. I think I take them both, and then Cleveland, I just go under. I've never really been as big of a fan of. You know, it seems like their front office gets a lot of credit, and they've drafted some guys successfully, but I don't know. The Cleveland Browns don't do it for me.
Yeah, I mean, of those, I probably like Cincinnati. Like you said, I kind of like them to win the division, but I feel like this is one of those where it's like, yeah, you could have all of them finish between 7-10 and 10-7, like just beat up on each other and
easily see it.
I mean, I think the Ravens could take a step back. They've replaced a huge chunk of their O-line. You know, and the last time Lamar had an MVP season, the very next year he went out and was not very good. So he could have another down year.
And he's got the king though, so even though he's old, still got some left.
I'm gonna love to see that backfield. I can't wait to see that.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the AFC East. So I got the Buffalo Bills here at 10.5, the Miami Dolphins and the New York Jets 9.5, and the New England Patriots 4.5. So Patriots are kind of leading the way for number one pick. So yeah, I don't think anybody's going to really expect them to hit the over on that. But who do you like in the division, bud?
This is a tough one. I do all three of the Bills, Jets, and Dolphins. I feel like I could make a case for both positive and negative. So it's like, you know, like the Bills have just turned over so much of their team, right? They've, you know, lost multiple offensive weapons. Like, can Josh Allen just carry everyone on his own?
Yeah,
that's going to be what we see this year. They've lost a couple key defenders. They have an injury. Milano got hurt. Yeah. So I mean, but I feel like they seem to just be able to piece it together and make something happen. So, you know, the Jets, I'll believe it when I see it, but they definitely, everything is there for them to make a run. You know.
Yeah.
I feel like their roster is elite, but they've needed a quarterback. Well, let's see what Aaron Rodgers can do.
Yeah. I think they did a good job rebuilding their offensive line this year too. So I would definitely take the Jets. The Jets are my favorite to win the AFC East this year, and I would definitely take the over on that win total 9.5. You know, Andy, what do you think about the 49 or I'm sorry, the Miami Dolphins?
The 49ers Southeast.
Yeah, Southeast, same thing. It's hot there, right?
You know, I honestly, I think out of the three, I like them the best, just because they have in my opinion, at least on offense, they have the least question marks. But I don't know. It could go, like I said, it could go any of the three teams. Honestly, Rodgers could be a wonder at his age 40, and Josh Allen is just Josh Allen, so he could be like a Mahomes type player. You just need to keep reloading every year with him, and as long as he's healthy, life's good. So, but New England's going to be the worst for sure.
Oh yeah, they're in the basement now. All right, let's go over. So we have the AFC South now. So the Houston Texans 9.5, the Indianapolis Colts and the Jacksonville Jaguars at 8.5. and then the Tennessee Titans at 6.5. I mean, I think everybody expects this to be a C.J. Stroud, Anthony Richardson battle this year, but I see my boy Trevor Lawrence, and I think Trevor Lawrence gets too much hate. He's got that long blonde hair that makes him look like a 40-year-old lesbian. People just want to hate on him. But hey, I think Trevor Lawrence is awesome. I'm going to hammer that over.
I think his expectations are just too high to begin with. But he's a good quarterback, just maybe not like elite.
I still believe.
This is another one of my favorite total bets, the win total bets, and typically I like unders for win totals because more things can like if a team has their starting quarterback get hurt, okay, they're probably going to go under. Where it's like there's not things like that happen. It's like, oh, now we get to go over because all these other things happen. But this is one where I like the over. I like the Titans over 6.5.
Oh,
I think they're going to be. I think they're going to be sneaky good.
Will Levis,
kind of. Spoiler alert: my best bet for Week 1, Tennessee +4 against the Bears. I really like it. I'm already all over it. I've been all over it for like 2 months, but I got 4.5. I don't think that's available anymore. But number one overall picks are like awful against the spread because quarterbacks, at least, because basically their team gets overhyped because you're the number one quarterback, and so like the line gets a little inflated. I think Tennessee, people have just kind of written them off as like, they're just whatever, the 4th team in this division, they're going to get last place. But I think they have decent pieces. Levis looked good at times last year. I think their defense is going to be good. So I think if they can stop the run and force teams to pass, they have two really, really good shutdown corners. I think they should be a sneaky team. So just watch out for them.
You think the Texans are going to win the division? Who do you have as your favorites?
Yeah, I mean, so I guess the Texans would be the 3rd with the Bears in Atlanta that are getting very, very hyped. I mean, everybody's all aboard the C.J. Stroud hype train, and I don't know. I think the NFL teams adjust, right? They get tape on people, they figure stuff out, and maybe CJ Stroud is going to be, the next Mahomes, and you just bet him, and and you're going to win money long term. Like I saw somebody post thing, it was like Tom Brady. If you just bet the Patriots in every Tom Brady game ever, you would have hit like 67% of your bets. And it's like, is he going to be like one of these guys? Because like late in the season last year, he was basically like that. Like they were like 0-3 against the spread in like his first 3 starts, and then after that they were like 10-5 or something. So it's like, it's like, are you just gonna just hammer him and just win every bet, and or is now team's gonna figure it out, and now we kind of. So I think you'll know a month or 2 into the season what he's all about. So, but I'm always about fading Ohio State guys, so we'll see.
That's what I was thinking. I've always loved CJ Stroud, even when he was at Ohio State. The arm talent that he has, the anticipation, it just seemed always super advanced for where he was. But yeah, I mean, hopefully when the Lions play him, we'll watch Hutch eat him up again.
Wasn't he? Was he 0-2 against?
He was 0-2 against Michigan. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, so he could stay even longer as far as that's concerned.
Yeah,
I like that guy.
My memory of him is him, holding his little hands and his little hand warmers, and it's a little colder here than my hometown of California. While it's snowing and he's just getting pummeled into the turf by Hutchinson.
Great times. Yes.
But whatever, I don't care about it. Now we're in the NFL, he can be good, but I don't know. Exactly. I feel like the MVP talk and all this stuff might be a little premature.
Yeah, it'll be Mahomes or Allen.
Yeah. All right, that leaves us with the AFC West.
Yeah, let's go to the AFC West. So we got the Kansas City Chiefs 11.5, the Los Angeles Chargers 8.5, the Las Vegas Raiders 6.5, and the Denver Broncos 5.5. So Jim Harbaugh coming in already 8.5 wins. I'm definitely taking the over on that one. Call it a homer pick. I love that crazy bastard. He's a culture setter, just like when Dan Campbell came in here, and he's got a lot more to work with than Dan Campbell did. But sometimes it's just about a guy who can pull the team together. And Brandon Staley never proved to be that guy. They may not be as talented at the skill positions as you want, but I think they have all the makings for a solid playoff team.
Yeah, I could see it going either way. It could be a terrible. I don't remember what he did in San Fran the first year he was there, but I could see him taking a year to get things together, and then they'll start rolling.
I'm pretty sure San Fran went from like a 3-win team to like a 9-win team his first year there.
But,
I'd have to look it up, but I'm pretty sure like it was basically immediate. Like
his first year was the handshake with Schwartz, right? Wasn't that his first year?
I think so.
And I remember both those teams were like 5-0 going into that game. So he won a lot of games his first year.
No,
we lost him. Are we still on?
I don't know.
We lost the host. The call is being recorded. Just me and you now, Andy. We didn't need that guy. Oh man.
No, I think Vegas under for sure. I think they'll actually be worse.
Yeah.
And then Denver probably. I don't know, over maybe.
Yeah. They
I don't know.
Remember how everybody was so excited for Antonio Pierce last year, and all the media people were saying how he, needs to get the job, and now it seems like a lot of people are already out on him. Just surprises me. I'm like, I'd give the guy a chance to see. He's a former player, but I guess you never know. We'll have to see how it goes.
I mean, the fact that he has to Minshew or O'Connell, right? Like,
yeah.
But give him a chance with a real quarterback or one of his own. He could probably do some good things. So
yeah. Oh man.
Did Bud say he got?
He said, "Uh oh, Bud." Well, hopefully everybody will get to see this.
Yeah, I don't.
Oh, there he is.
I don't know what happened. Literally, like somehow, like it just sent me to a different webpage on this thing.
We're still recording.
All right, perfect.
Yeah.
So,
oh man.
All right, so are we still talking AFC West?
Yeah. We were just talking about a little more about them.
About the Raiders and Broncos.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously, the most obvious thing ever would be to take the Chiefs over. But I feel like last year, the Chiefs went 11-6 last year, and I feel like everything that possibly could have gone wrong for them did. So, like, we've seen the bottom when it was 11 wins. So, to me, it's like their over is pretty. To me, it's pretty obvious. But I mean, obviously, the only thing that would derail that would be like Mahomes getting hurt. Like,
yeah.
That's why it's hard taking like over like 11.5s and stuff like that. Like it's just hard. It's hard to win 12 games. Like it's not.
Yeah.
But
I mean, the last two Super Bowls they've won have mostly been on their defense, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And then Mahomes, of course, too. But they have so many studs on defense, and Spagnuolo calling the plays. Like it just, I've always been impressed by watching their defense.
Yeah. So what were you guys' opinion on the Raiders?
I think we said under.
Yeah,
Raiders. We were under.
It's funny. I read a couple things, like different things for people with betting and thoughts, and like one of the places I read has like the Raiders as like one of their favorite under bets, and I was like, yeah, I can get behind it. They don't really have a quarterback. But then another guy that I read is like his number one win total bet is the Raiders over, and he's like all in on the Raiders and thinks they're a playoff team. And basically his thing on it is like, he thinks the offensive weapons are pretty solid. that we already saw Gardner Minshew basically almost take the Colts to the playoffs last year. I mean, they were basically one game away from the playoffs, but their front seven is like one of the best in football. Like, Max Crosby, some of these guys are just like absolute terror on the D line. And that if you have a front seven that's that good, it can just make up for some of your other deficiencies. But so I really don't have an opinion. I feel like the Raiders really could. I really could see either case. I could see them being like a lot better than people realize and a borderline playoff team, but I also could see them going 3-14 and just everyone quitting and not caring.
Yeah.
But I feel like they're I feel like they have a coach like Dan Campbell type of coach, like the players want to play for.
Yeah, former player and everything.
Yeah. But Detroit teams with Campbell had a 3-14 year, so right? Wasn't it their first year? Or 3-14-1 or something? Yeah. Like
we didn't have close to the talent level that they have.
That's true.
Close to
yeah. They have a lot better talent to start than where the Lions were at then. So
yeah. What do you think about the Broncos?
I don't know.
I still think Sean Payton knows how to coach. So that's why I would take the over on that, just because Sean Payton, even last year, I mean, they were a mess, everybody said. He still coached them to what they get to 8 wins or something last year.
I think it might have been 7. I think it might have been 7-10.
You might be right, 7-10, yeah. So I don't know. I mean, they got a rookie quarterback, but Bo Nix is, he's a 35-year-old rookie, so I think he'll hit the ground running a little bit easier than everybody else. Your typical rookie, Yeah,
right. All right. Well, any other? You want to talk about any of the other things that could happen? Super Bowl winner or MVP or?
I don't think. I mean, Lions are who I'm going to be hoping for. I wouldn't bet on anybody else. I'm probably not going to bet that one though because I don't want to jinx it. I bet them all the other years when it was like you had like 30-1 odds.
No, it's weird seeing the Lions as like the third favorite. I'm like,
yeah,
we don't belong here. What's going on?
Yeah,
well,
but
they wouldn't have collapsed against San Francisco.
Yeah, who knows what would happen?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't think the Chiefs. I don't. They could three-peat, but I don't think they will. But who knows? It's Mahomes and Reed, and they seem to do good things. So, but I don't think so.
Luck's going to run out at some point, even though it's not that much luck with them. But
I'll say some of my favorite bets that I haven't bet, but I've considered betting. So I said the one was the Panthers. That's probably my favorite division. Conference, because I'm always looking for, I'm scrolling down. I'm not picking, I'm not betting a team at plus 350 to win their conference. Like that to me is no value. Colts to win the AFC plus 2,500. I don't mind that. So like if Anthony Richardson pops, they could make some noise. Titans are plus 6,500. I said I like them. I don't like them to even like make the playoffs. I just think that they're not a like bottom feeder team. I feel like they're just middle of the pack.
Okay.
NFC, I kind of like the Eagles, even though they're plus 600. I feel like they could easily be the 1 seed. And then once you're the 1 seed, it's like, pretty clear path to winning. The Lions are plus 500. I'm like you said, I'm not going to go all in on the Lions. I love the Lions. My Homerdom wants me to say that, but I'm just looking for value here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then maybe a Super Bowl here. What do we got? Super Bowl. Where the fuck's the Super Bowl? Oh, there it is. Super Bowl. Once again, when you scroll down a little bit here, man, never mind. I don't like any of these. Colts again are 5,500, but
what's Chargers odds?
40-1 plus 4,000. Jacksonville's 4,500. That's the range you want to look to try to find some value of maybe a team that can go in the playoffs, and then you just cash it out or hedge against it or whatever.
Yeah.
But all right, it's getting late. We could probably get out of here. But it was fun talking through all this with you guys.
Good talking to you guys too.
Yeah.
And good luck on the season to everybody.
Yeah.
Anybody have any fantasy football drafts tomorrow?
I had one. I had one today during work. We did our work. We did our work league during the office hours, so that was good. And then as far as programming update on the podcast, I will be trying to do a weekly episode. Not going to guarantee that's going to happen, but at least once every couple weeks. But as a preseason special, we will actually have another episode tomorrow. So stay tuned as we're going to run down the trailer park auction that just went down this past Sunday. So I'm going to be joined by Doyle and possibly another guest tomorrow night. So look forward to that. And guys, it was fun having you, and we'll see everyone next time.
All right. Take it easy, guys.
See you guys.
Bye.